terminology in Spanish. And so here we go. The very first thing that we're going to begin is by defining a verb. Now, for some people, this is where it gets or starts to get a little bit hard because they really think about a verb and they say, I think that I have covered a verb before or what a verb really is, and I have learned how to define it. But if we don't start from basics, then we're going to end up losing track throughout the way. So the very first thing that I want you to know is that a verb is exactly this, just an action word. And so, of course, we know that actions constitute things like walking, dancing, or even singing. And so when it comes to verbs, we always say that a verb is made out of two parts, dos partes. And so what two parts is a verb made out of? Well, the very first part that it has is the stem, which also some people like to call it the root. And then the second part is the ending. And so, so we come to know what a verb is, and we come to know how many parts does a verb have. Stem and ending. And so, now the question is, so I know now what a verb is, and I know how many parts they have, so what good is it for me? When it comes to Spanish, there is one thing, basically many things that we have to understand, but one of the very basic fundamental principles of Spanish is understanding that any verb that we have can be conjugated. Now, the verb conjugation gives a lot of people a lot of trouble because when they're thinking about conjugation, they really are not very sure what they're talking about. And some of them get scared when they hear the word conjugation, even though they have no idea what it basically means. But what does it mean to conjugate? Well, to conjugate, it just means to put a specific word, any word, in a specific tense. In this case, all we're going to be thinking about for now is the present, el presente. And so when you think about the present, which is what is going on right now, I want you to make me a favor and think in your pretty little minds that when you think about the present, you got to think about the color green, verde. And so, Miss, why are we thinking about the color green? Well, because when you're at the lights and you're driving, what does green mean? Exactly, it means to go. So in the present, it's what's going on right now. Now, if you're from El Paso, where I'm originally from, right, we know that verde means go, red means stop, and yellow means, that's right, you go faster. And so here we go, going back to the verbs. Anytime that we talk about conjugating a verb, meaning putting any verb in a specific tense, we always want to make sure that we get its infinitive form. Again, notice that. We want to make sure that we get its infinitive form. Fancy word, isn't it? So what exactly is the infinitive form of any verb? Well, when we talk about a verb being its infinitive form, think about it as a newborn baby, meaning it's been untouched. It doesn't have no evilness in it, right? It's innocent. And so here we have three verbs just to demonstrate what does it mean to be in infinitive form. The very first verb that we have over here is the verb amar, which means to love. The second verb that we have here is the verb comer, which of course we know means to eat. And the third one that we have is the verb vivir, which means to live. Now, if we closely look at them, if you look at them, right, what do all those three verbs have in common? Anybody? Somebody? Everybody? Take a guess. You guess right. Looky here. So they all end in an R. So when we say that the verb is in the infinitive form, mean in that newborn stage, the verb ends in an R. That means it has not yet been conjugated. We're still not in problems. And so here we go. The very first verb that we have again is amar, the second one we have is comer, and the third one that we have is vivir. So I purposely selected these verbs just to let you know that when it comes to conjugations, these verbs can only fall under one of three conjugations. So verbs that belong to the first conjugation are verbs that end in AR. Verbs like the verb amar. How do I know to what conjugation they belong to? Because hence, the ending, which consists of the last two letters of any verb, are going to tell me. So in this case, when I look at amar, which are those two letters? last two letters, amar, A-R, right? And so when I look at the verb comer, which means to eat, which are the last two letters? See, there you go, easy piece of cake. And so when I look at the verb vivir, which are the last two letters? I-R. So I say that amar belongs to the first conjugation, comer belongs to the second conjugation, and vivir belongs to the third conjugation. In this case, the third conjugation being IR, second conjugation being ER, and first conjugation being AR. En español decimos primera conjugación, segunda conjugación y tercera conjugación. Los verbos de AR, los verbos de ER y IR. Ustedes, AR, ER, IR. I didn't hear you. AR, ER, IR. Okay? And so going back again. So, okay. So now we know what the ending is. Great, miss. So now I know what the ending is, and I know what a verb is, and I know what it means to conjugate, because it means to put in a specific tense. In this case, you said think verde, because it's a present. But you have not explained to me what does it mean to get the stem or the root. Or what exactly is the stem or the root? Okay, so then we come back over here, and we say, so what is the stem and the root? I wonder. Well, if the ending is the last two letters of every verb, the stem and the root is actually just the leftovers. Notice here in this case, am, okay, is what's left. Notice in this case, con is what is left. And notice in this case, when I get vivir and identify the ending, what is it that I'm left with? I'm left with beef. And so notice here, make sure that I erase that. Notice here that the ending consists again of the last two letters, and the stem, okay, or the root, if you want to call it like that, okay, is whatever is left over after I have removed those two letters, okay? And so in this context, we say that we are ready to conjugate.